Is it bullying or is it just conflict? It can be really hard to tell the difference sometimes. In this explainer, we're going to break down a simple way to figure out what's really going on so you know exactly how to handle it.
Okay, first things first. Not every problem is bullying. And it's really important we get this right because when we start calling every single disagreement bullying, it can actually make things a lot more confusing and stressful for everyone.
The truth is, disagreeing with people is a totally normal part of life. It's actually how we learn to work things out, and build even stronger friendships. A little friction isn't just okay. It's pretty much necessary for us to grow.
So here's what we're going to walk through. We'll start with why conflict is normal. Then I'll give you 3 key questions you can ask yourself. We'll compare conflict and bullying side by side, talk about why this distinction is so important, and finish up with how to know when you should seek guidance.
So let's just start with this core idea. Conflict is normal. Experts on child well-being all agree that we shouldn't treat every disagreement like it's some terrible event. It's just a natural part of figuring out how to get along with other human beings. All right, now for what might be the most important part of this whole explainer. I'm going to give you a really simple tool to help you figure things out. All it takes is asking 3 key questions. I promise, they'll help you see any situation much more clearly. First question, is there a power imbalance? So in a normal conflict, people are usually on a pretty even playing field. But bullying, that's different. It's almost always about one person using their power, whatever that power might be, over someone else. And power isn't just about being physically stronger. It can be about being more popular or having a bigger group of friends. It can even be the power someone gets from hiding behind a screen online. You're looking for any kind of advantage one person has over the other. If you see one, that's a pretty big clue. Okay, second question, is it repeated? A simple conflict, a normal fight that might just happen once. But bullying. Bullying is a pattern. It's behavior that keeps happening over and over again. So you have to ask yourself, was this a one-time thing or does this keep happening? Is the same person doing the same kind of hurtful thing to you again and again? If you can see that pattern, it's a huge sign that this is more than just a simple fight. And our last question, is there intent or a disregard for harm? So did they mean to hurt you? Or maybe you told them to stop and they just kept doing it anyway. Bullying is either a choice to be hurtful or it's a total disregard for how the other person feels. Okay, so now we have our 3 questions. Let's put it all together and look at conflict and bullying right next to each other. I think the difference is going to become pretty obvious. If you look here, you can see conflict is more like a two-way street between equals. But then on the other side, bullying is a one-way attack. It's all about dominance, about using power and repetition to try and make someone feel small. So, why does getting this right matter so much? Well, because when we actually know what we're dealing with, we can respond in the right way. And getting it wrong can sometimes make things worse. I mean, think about it. If we call every little argument bullying, we can end up creating a lot of extra fear and anxiety. It might even make people afraid of friendships in general. That's why figuring out what's really happening is the most important first step to handling it well. So what does a healthy friendship look like? It's one where you can disagree, where you can make mistakes, say you're sorry, and then move on. It's not a relationship where someone uses something like the silent treatment to punish or control you. So, what do you do with this information? Well, sometimes, even with these questions, things can still feel confusing, or they might even get out of hand. And it's absolutely crucial to know when it's time to get some help.
If you're ever not sure what's going on,
The next step is actually pretty simple. Find an adult you trust, could be a parent, a teacher, anyone, and just tell them what's happening. Ask them what they think. It is always okay to ask for help figuring things out.
and let's be crystal clear about this. If a conflict ever involves threats or physical violence or someone trying to force you to do something you don't want to do, it has crossed a very serious line. That is no longer a conflict. That is a safety issue. You need to get help from an adult immediately.
So, to recap, here's that simple rule you can remember. Just ask yourself, 1, is it repeated? 2, is there a power imbalance? And 3, does it keep hurting even after I ask them to stop? If you're answering yes to these, it's very likely what you're dealing with is bullying. So here's the bottom line. You never, ever have to accept behavior that truly hurts you. Setting boundaries is always the right thing to do. But at the same time, you also don't have to label every single disagreement as bullying.
This whole conversation is really about giving you the power to understand what's actually going on. Because when you can see things clearly, you can handle them with confidence. And in the end, that's what wisdom is. Just knowing the difference.